Hello and welcome back. Hopefully in this video we'll get the score working here. So like I said, we're going to base that score on if the ball hits the paddle, there's no point. If it misses the paddle, then it will get a point. So what we're going to do here is go back to our script and we're going to go into our ball script because our ball knows if it hit the paddle or not. So what I'm going to do is go back. Let me just make this bigger here. Go back up to the top, and we're going to have to communicate with the game script, because on the game script we put our increase the computer point or increase the player point. So the first thing we're going to do, and you should almost be able to do this by yourself now, is create that reference to the game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go put a private here, game. That's the name of the script, and the specific one we're going to do is the game, okay? And so the game is basically going to be the reference to the script. So in the start, and I guess I'll just put it right above everything here, the game is going to equal, we've got to find that game object, so game object dot find, and I'm pretty sure we called it game. Let me just double check. Yeah, game with a capital. Okay, so we need to be able to find that game. And then we're going to just grab the component right away. So get component, and then the script, right? The game script. And so now we have a reference to that, okay? So what we want to basically do now is call that, player point or computer point if the ball hits it. So let's go down here and check collision. So this one's checking to see if we touch the player paddle. So if we do touch it, right, it changes the direction here. Else, if it doesn't, we want to put a little bit of code in here. So what I'm going to do is just come down under here. Else, we're basically going to call that computer point there. So what I'm going to do is just simply game dot. So that grabs the game script, and on that one I think we had called player point. There it is. So we're going to call that function there, and that should, make sure we close it up. Oops, that actually should be computer point, shouldn't it? Because we're actually going to give you, if it misses the player paddle, that gives the computer a point. So that's what's going to go on there. So if it misses, it should give the computer a point. If the computer misses, then same code. So else, and so game dot player point. This is the player point one here. That should do that. So let's see if this works. It won't. There'll be a little problem with it, but let's just see here. So if we go back, hopefully there's no errors. Hit play. There it goes. Give me 8 points. I knew this would happen. So just do again. Ooh, gave me 8 points. So what you see here is Unity working as it should. Because, this is happening, the check collision's happening sort of constantly, it just keeps basically, as it passes, adding points to it. So what we want to do is just limit it to 1 point. So what I'm going to do is create a bit of a Boolean, and because the ball is going to be destroyed, and we actually haven't destroyed the ball yet, we can just set this Boolean to true or false, and then we don't even have to set it back. So I'm going to come back up here. Where was it? Here with all our variables. Might as well set that to private, make it a bool, and if you can name this whatever you want, I'm going to call it assigned point. Basically, this is going to say, have you assigned the point or not? By default, it sets itself to false. So if you don't explicitly set this is to false. Although we could, just be explicit about it and set it to false there. Okay, so we haven't assigned the point yet. So basically when the ball is instantiated, when the ball is created, it's set to false, so that there's no point sort of, or the point hasn't been assigned, which makes sense. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap, check collision here, we're going to wrap this around here. So else, if we haven't assigned the point, so if the assigned point is false, which is by default, then it will assign the point, and then we'll change that to true, right? We'll set that the point has been, so I'll do that first. It doesn't really matter because it will run these regardless. Assigned point is equal to true. There we go. Okay, good. And then basically the same thing. So let me just make sure I didn't close this up. Okay, so I'll explain that when we do this bottom one here again. So else, if we haven't assigned the point yet, so if assigned point is false, then we will assigned point, set that to true, and we'll add to the player point. So like I said, this here, make sure it only happens once, because it's going to assign the assigned point is going to be false. So remember, this means not. So if not assigned point, you can imagine is sort of set to, it's a Boolean, so that would mean not assigned point would be false. And so this does resolve to false here. So if assigned point is false, then we're going to set that to true. So it only does it once. This will only run once, and then it adds to the player point. Okay, so let's just make sure that this is working. Oops, void cannot be used. I think I messed up when that happens, usually it's I just didn't, I've got a problem with I probably didn't close this one up, right? That closes that, yeah, the else. But that actually goes with that. So this should be one more here. I think I messed that one up. Okay. Too busy talking. Okay, so hopefully that solves that problem. Even more importantly, hopefully you guys were saying, Mr. Fleming, you forgot your closing bracket. Okay, let's see. So, okay, so that one's going to hit, of course. Okay, now that went through that problem. Did it give me 1 point, though? Oop. That wasn't good. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, that gave me 1 point. Don't worry about it bouncing back. Okay. That's interesting. Now, the ball's going to disappear, so that made sense. Okay, so that was good. Now I think, I don't know why that, I'm going to check with the player here. I might have to stop the pull. Okay, so that's, yeah, we're going to have a little problem here. Okay, let me just pause this so that I can set the computer paddle. Set the speed to 0. That's a good speed. I think I can beat him there. So let's just see that this is working. There's obviously still that error with the player paddle. Okay, but I did get a point there. So that's good to know. Try it one more time. Good. So as, score is going up, it seems to be reasonable here. We'll stop this video here. Like I said, we still have that little bit of an error with the computer paddle, and I think I can fix it later on. We want to be able to, have a maximum score and get that, the player win or the computer win, and we still need to get that spacebar to work. So we'll come back and keep working on this.